basically how you can get to package yourself as a professional, or rather as an engineer, because most people in the session today are engineers, for the different opportunities outside here. This is basically how to land clients online and how to manage your personal brand. Okay, the first step to managing your personal brand is that you have to ask yourself different questions. That is, number one, how do you get to create your personal brand? There's two, how do you reach out to professionals? That is in terms of networking. There's how to get people to love your content, how to grow on social media platforms, and I'll actually specialize on LinkedIn, and the do's and don'ts in terms of personal branding and how do you land clients. So, for a start, the question is here. So, what is your personal brand? Your personal brand is basically your digital footprint. Let me just make sure that people can see me. Your personal brand is basically your digital footprint. This is how people get to perceive you online. Where, if you're talking about your qualifications or rather your experiences to one person, you'll only be talking to one person. But if you're addressing that on social media, you'll get to realize that you are talking to the masses. So it's something that's really important, something that can really help you grow. And one tool that if you get to master, you can really position yourself outside there for opportunities and even get to land clients for your services. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my story. So for a start, my name is Calvin Nyamunde. Basically, I'm a career development coach and also a graduate of civil engineering, where I have worked with multiple clients in terms of helping them build their brand online and also through helping them revamp their documents. That is having revamped over 4,000 LinkedIn profiles, CVs, and cover letters. But most of them I did them when I was employed. So how do I did I get in terms of personal branding? There's this aspect that whenever you leave an opportunity and you haven't really built your personal brand, is where you get to realize that not so many people get to acknowledge your prowess. And from working with different professionals, you get to realize that people are usually so confident working behind the shadows, right? But in some cases, will it be necessary for only your experiences to be known in your resume? No, it's also necessary for other people, other professionals to get to understand what you are all about and the life lessons that you're looking to teach and the expertise that you have within your specific industry. So that entails building your personal brand. And whenever you get to build your online brand, you get to have some benefits. So, which are the benefits of building your personal brand? One, you find yourself leading more. Why am I saying this? Whenever you've built your brand, let's say on social media, probably on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or even Facebook, you'll find it that you manage to become a voice within the industry. And the thing is, people get to believe whatever insights or expertise that you're sharing, that is, whether you're right or wrong, that means that you get to have a following. And two, you get to win more. Why am I saying win more? I'm talking about opportunities where building a personal brand helps you have a bargain in terms of playing the reverse card when it comes to your online image. You'll often find yourself that you don't necessarily have to be approaching the different recruiters. You find it that you don't have to be approaching the different recruiters. You'll find the different recruiters getting in touch with you. You'll find people with different problems getting to approach you. So the thing about LinkedIn is that there are usually two kinds of people, or even the corporate industry. We usually have two kinds of people. We have people with problems and we have people with solutions. So it's a matter of picking your side, where winning more entails you choosing your audience in terms of the market that you intend to serve. So if you're building your personal brand and package yourself as somebody who solves people's problems, you'll get people offering different opportunities to you. And lastly, you get to earn more. Why? Because a personal brand, or rather an online image, is already a living CV with your expertise and with your experiences and achievements. So the thing is, whenever you've built your brand on social media, you get to realize that you have a bargaining chip over the different opportunities. Where if you're actively landing clients based on your online image, it means there are some opportunities that you'll have to neglect. Why? Because they're not as rewarding as the brand that you're looking to build. So, what does it take, and what are the steps to building your online image? That is. So that is the step-by-step process. Number one is your self-awareness. Why am I talking about self-awareness? In terms of self-awareness, the first thing you have to identify is acknowledge who you are and what you do, and also what you're looking to achieve, as well as your why you're in a certain industry. The moment you get to understand your why, you won't really think much about the how. You'll, of course, find instances on how you can demonstrate your expertise and manage to build your brand. So, self awareness starts by getting to understand your strengths, getting to understand your greatest skills, and getting to understand your achievements. The thing is, there are often most professionals who, whenever they talk about their experiences, they just talk about them like day to day responsibilities. But in the corporate field, or rather your online image, there are people who are looking for your day to day responsibilities and looking at them as solutions. So, by packaging your day to day responsibilities or putting out your content in terms of solving specific problems for people, you'll often find it that that is where people get to acknowledge you. That is where people get to understand your expertise. And that is where people start looking for you. So, it's about identifying your unique value proposition. What is your unique value proposition? This is your why. That is what you're looking to achieve. And if you're looking to build content on social media, or rather put out even your content as an engineering student or even as an engineering expert, one aspect you often come across is that there are usually so many people who are just sharing their achievements, sharing their experiences, but there are not so many people who are actually making it simpler for the people who are trying to understand. The thing about it is that other than showing your content to people who already understand the industry, how about you focus for those who are seeking to understand more about engineering, people who are getting to learn the new valuable concepts? This is where people start seeing you as a voice, where people start seeing you as a source of information. And on platforms like LinkedIn, if you choose a particular topic and then you start addressing that topic in terms of the problems that you manage to solve, giving step by step processes, that is where even your content is promoted to people outside your following, because you're a thought leader within the industry. Where the statement here is, you have to focus on people's problems, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So focus on solving their problems, other than just showcasing your achievements, showcasing your previous track record. Just focus on making it simpler for everyone. And how does this happen? Let's say something as simple as you've put out a post. Probably you are engaged in a particular project. How about, instead of just saying that, oh, wow, I was engaged in this particular project, I was with this and this professional, how about you take people through the step by step process on what the project entailed and how you managed to get through it and what you managed to achieve in the process? That is what helps make you your voice. Where instead of targeting the ones who are already qualified, you target the ones who are seeking to get expertise, who are seeking to navigate their paths within your industry and be the light for them. Next step is understanding where your clients are. In terms of building your personal brand, and it's not just about understanding where your clients are, it's also understanding where your connections are. It's not just about business, because we're also talking to people who are looking for opportunities. So, for a start, you have to understand, what type of content are you looking to put out? Is it engineering? Is it entertainment? Or is it just something that's inspirational? After that, create a framework where you need to put out your content to people who will resonate with your content. That is, if you're, let's say, if you're a dancer, your content will be most applicable for TikTok, right? Or even Instagram, not specifically LinkedIn. But if you are somebody who is an engineer and putting out engineering content, your content may be applicable in terms of LinkedIn. That is in terms of written posts. While for platforms like Instagram or TikTok, you might have to narrow down to videos. Or rather, if it's YouTube, you may try starting a podcast. So it's about understanding where your clients are. This helps you grow a bit exponentially compared to starting to put out content in platforms where you don't necessarily know the people or the type of audience who are already there. The next step will be optimizing your online presence. Yeah, this is usually quite the big leap for most professionals. Why? Because this is usually the step where you get to put yourself out there. But then the thing is, you could have the greatest profile in the world, you could have the greatest Instagram feed in the world, but if you don't constantly engage with people online, your platform will remain in the dark. So, how do you optimize your online presence? On platforms like LinkedIn, optimizing your online presence, first, it entails engaging with people. And in terms of engaging with people, it's usually not just a matter of trying to reach out to through messages, trying to put out your own content. Engaging with people can also be engaging with their content. And the first step, one little step that you can start is by actually commenting on people's posts. Where, let's say you're somebody who is interested in something like career coaching, right? Then you find yourself that you're quite conversant with the area and you're quite competent in a number of topics. And then you find content that I have put out, but you feel there's more value that you can add to the content. So, how do you do it? You manage to break down some of the steps, making it simpler for people in my audience to understand in the comment section. So, that means that if I'm getting 2,000 impressions for that post, it means approximately 1,000 people will manage to scroll down through the comments to see what it's all about. And if they find your content interesting, that is how you'll have managed to tap into my own audience. So, optimizing your online presence first starts by commenting. There's also putting out your content out there, which is usually not quite difficult as people usually perceive it, because putting out your content doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have your own pictures all over the place. You can even engage in a newsletter. You can even engage in collaborative articles. You can even have a different video just showcasing what you're talking about, not necessarily you talking about it. Because a solution is a solution regardless who is offering it. And another step to optimizing your online presence, actually, which is the first step, is usually by having your social media platform, having your LinkedIn profile updated. And LinkedIn is quite a different topic because I'm talking about personal branding. When I delve into LinkedIn, it will be quite lengthy. So it's usually the simple bits where you're supposed to have a good profile picture, an updated profile, an updated banner, a good headline, and also an interesting about section where make it less generic but more like you. Where instead of just going to, let's say, a platform like ChatGPT and giving it a prompt, create an engineering summary for an engineering professional and just copy pasting it there. You can create one that is generic, then tailor it to suit who you are individually, because people will connect you better as a person than as a professional. So make sure you add that personal touch, which makes you a bit approachable. The next one is deepening your relationships. Yeah, in terms of deepening your relationships, this is usually through network. And how do you network? You've often seen most of people who are coming to give advice in terms of networking telling you that One, you should go for networking events. Two, you should go for seminars. You should attend these multiple trainings. But networking is not just that. Why? When it comes to seminars, events, trainings, they are very beneficial, they are very impactful. You learn a lot. But who are the greatest people who attend such seminars? 90% of the people are usually students, job seekers, and only a few companies who are looking to sell their services for clients. Which people are not there? We do not have the actual recruiters who are actually seeking opportunities. We don't have the people with problems who can even employ you for a particular task. So, what does networking entail? Networking is the simple connections, the people you meet on social places, places like church. These are the people, the stranger that came to your family gathering, the person that you met in the gym. Normalize building relationships with people anywhere, not just in specific areas. Yes, it's good to attend seminars, it's good to attend events, it's good to attend trainings, but just make sure that your networking doesn't just limit itself to such areas. Network anywhere. And how, which is the greatest way to network? The first step in networking is actually listening. Why? That's because everybody in one or one way or another exhibits narcissistic traits. Why am I talking about this? This is because people enjoy talking about themselves. People enjoy talking about the things they're passionate about. So you as a networking professional, how do you go by this? The first step is by giving people the audience, letting people feel heard, making them feel understood. The next step is usually seeking common ground. While people are talking about their experiences, while people are talking about their challenges, and while they're talking about the different people that they've encountered in the past, seeking common ground entails where do you and this person relate? And common ground doesn't necessarily have to be a job, doesn't necessarily have to be in terms of engineering. Common ground means you're just building rapport. Which are the common interests that you people have? Are there common events that you go to? Are there common topics that you find comfortable talking about? And the third step is offering value. In terms of offering value, most people usually network, yes, and are actually there to listen to different professionals. You get to listen to this speaker. Yes, he has talked about it. You've also made him reiterate everything that he or she talked about. But then this person is going to do that the same thing to 10 more people who are going to be with this person. So, how do you make sure that your interaction with this individual is memorable? It's by offering value. Try to identify the problems that this person is addressing and pose yourself as the solution. If this person is an engineer, tell them that, oh, you're also quite conversant with AutoCAD and you're probably working in a project where you've managed to design a particular structure. Or maybe you can talk about the research that you've engaged in, the special communities that you are involved with. That's offering value. That makes the conversation memorable. And finally, follow up. The goal is not usually just getting a contact, the goal is making a connection. So, following up means whenever you get to interact with different professionals, just ensure that you always leave a text to tell them where you had met, what you found interesting in talking about, and what are the next steps with regard to your engagement with that person. And while you're networking, remember that your goal is not to network with 10 or 20 professionals. You can even network in terms of just building a connection with two or three individuals. These are people who will remember what you were talking about, who will remember the conversation that you had. I hope I'm clear. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Go
Yeah.
on, go on.
And the next step is also building your own community. So, how do you build your community? And why is it important to build your community? Your community are the people who will actually inform you of the industry trends, will inform you of the latest adjustments that have been made, and which are the most marketable skills that are required in the industry. Basically, your community are people who will inform you on what is going around within your industry. Another aspect of your community is that whenever you're building your personal brand, communities are the people who will relate with your content. These are the people who will interact with your posts. These are the people who get to comment and also get to inspire other people to comment. Remember, no man is an island. So whenever you're starting out, your first step is actually forging connections. You can join these different societies, whether it's in engineering, whether it's in marketing, or whether it's in projects, and get to understand which are the different projects that people are working on. How interesting is it, and how do they apply there? So you end up learning from their experiences. And the first step, whenever you're looking to build your personal brand, is that you'll realize that your first post will never be your best post. Your first podcast will never be your best podcast. Your first speech will never be the best one. So it's usually just a matter of getting started. And how does one get better? A place like LinkedIn is usually a game of consistency, where the more consistent you are, the more you grow. And the same applies for other social media platforms, whether you're looking to grow on Instagram, whether you're looking to grow on TikTok. It's usually a matter of getting started. Why? The moment you get started, you start relating with other people's content, you start seeing how other creators are doing it, and you get in touch with other successful creators within the same industry and get to understand how they've done it before, or rather, how they're doing it right now. So, having such a community helps you learn from their experiences and helps you grow as an individual. So, that's what it takes to build your personal brand. The next one is, yeah, I talked about showing up consistently, where it's about brand positioning. While I talk about brand positioning, is that you're not supposed to do it for the like, you're supposed to do it for the love. How do you do this? You find it that whenever you're starting out or whenever you're putting out content, of course, your post will not go viral from the start. That is, unless you're lucky. Or even if it goes viral, not every post will go viral, actually. Some posts will have 10 likes, others will have 20, others will have 100. But what does showing up consistently entail? Showing up consistently means you're putting yourself as a trusted entity and helping build the element of trust among your clients. Why? A client will look at your profile and a client will look at your platform and say that if this person is capable of putting out content, or rather working on their brand each and every day without fail, this person is somebody who can definitely execute a service. And the more you show up consistently, the more you build the impressions, you get noticed by different people. And as I talked about, is that LinkedIn is the ultimate reverse card, where if you're consistently talking about your project, let's say you're talking about your engineering projects, there will be some recruiters who'll get wind of the content that you're putting out. So it means that whenever they're looking for a professional with a certain level of expertise, your name might be the first one to pop in mind. That's option one. Option two is that not every job usually comes with a job description. In some cases, you may find yourself landing jobs in terms of just clients approaching you with a specific project that they find you fit to handle. Did that job come with a job description? No. And lastly, you find it that you'll have to work directly with clients. Now, these are clients on your end, where people will come needing some of your services, whether it's knowledge regarding a particular course, whether it's knowledge regarding a particular skill set. You find different ways of selling your skills. So that's usually another essence of having your brand. Yes, they do it for the love and not for the likes. Where I talked about engagement, meaning the engagement is much, much better than posting. Actually, in terms of any social media platform, One aspect that you have to really prioritize. Or is there somebody trying to say something? Okay. One aspect that you have to really prioritize is your engagement. Your engagement is how you interact with people, not only on social media, but even outside. What are you talking about? Are you answering to people's questions? Are you like interacting with people's content? Are you trying to understand people's views? This entails engaging people where it's not just about you, it's about the clients. Getting to understand their greatest questions and being the answer is what makes you build your online image and get noticed outside there. So you can be posting, let's say, 2 to 3 times a week, right? On any platform. But even if you're posting, always make sure that your engagement is top notch. That is in terms of interacting with other people's content, putting out, looking for polls where people are asking questions, engaging in collaborative articles. And there's also been the feature of collaborative articles on LinkedIn. I don't know if you managed to look at it. You can definitely go and check it out where through researching different topics on LinkedIn and let's say engineering, and you've consistently engaged in different articles. For 60 days, you may have the banner or rather the badge, top engineering voice. So does for your profile. That definitely helps build your credibility. So it means that whenever you're applying for a job using your LinkedIn profile, they get to notice that this is somebody who has already been acknowledged for the platform and proved as a trusted figure within the platform. The next step is always focusing on your customer experience. This is usually quite an underrated skill, but it's really, really crucial. Where people will never remember what you say or what you did, but will definitely remember how you made them feel. So, your customer experience doesn't necessarily have to be the clients that you work with, it's also about the organizations that you've worked with. How did you position yourself as a figure within that organization? Were you reliable? Were you somebody who focused on communicating progress with your clients or rather with your senior professionals? So, what this does is that most jobs and most clients are usually gotten from referrals. So, if you had a stint within a particular industry and managed to deliver your best, it means that your supervisor can easily refer you for another role. When you had a client and you manage to deliver your best in terms of the execution and in terms of the experience the client had with you, it means that that client can easily stake their reputation for you to land another client. Because a referral is basically somebody staking their reputation to show that you are somebody who is reliable and you are somebody who is a trusted figure there. So focus on your customer experience. The next step is basically showcasing your work, where you could have a CV, but a CV is visible to just you. You could have a portfolio, but a portfolio is only visible for you or for the prospects. These are the people who are interested in your service. But having a LinkedIn profile, or rather having a service page on your LinkedIn profile, is something that will be visible for everyone. Why do I say this? Let's say you conduct a simple search on your LinkedIn profile and you search for engineering consulting. So, what this does is that the people offering the services will all be listed there, regardless of whether they're people in business or they're people who are employed. Having a service page is usually a great step to showcasing your work. And another step is actually putting out the content with regard to the projects that you've worked with. Talk about the projects, talk about the engagement the client had with you, talk about the benefit or rather the impact that you had. So it means that whenever somebody is looking at you or somebody is looking at your digital footprint, that person gets to know what you're all about. And how do you build credibility for your work? It's actually through requesting for recommendations. People are more likely to buy if other people actually had a good experience with you. So, whichever engagement you had, whether it's a particular project, you could request for a recommendation letter, or actually just request a supervisor to write a little note on your LinkedIn profile on how good you are with regard to a specific project. So, what this does is that this helps build the element of social proof. So, whenever somebody is coming to your profile, this person gets to understand that you're somebody who delivers exceptional work already. So it helps build the level of credibility that you have on the platform. The next one, learn how to listen. This entails how you respond to criticism. And I can just give you a short story. It's actually about one of the talks that I was having when I was starting out. And the thing is, whenever you deliver a speech, it's not often that somebody can come and actually criticize what you had worked on. Everybody will be clapping for you, right? But you also need to find ways on how you can improve. So we had conducted a simple test. I don't know if Mike Curley is here. Yeah, we had conducted a simple test where you just take somebody else's phone and tells him to call somebody else who was present in the session.
Mike is here.
Oh, he's actually here. Okay.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Present, sir.
So it's about conducting a simple test. We managed to just call one of the people in the audiences, and that person didn't necessarily know that I was there. Yeah, and the person was actually requested to just say what he or she thought about the entire speech. From there, we could definitely listen to the criticism completely, and that is where you get tons of advice. What's my point? Criticism is what really helps you improve, because whenever you're putting out your content, whenever you're starting out, your brain always tells you that you're the best. You'll always feel like there's no one else who is better than you, or rather, what you delivered was your best work. But learning to listen to people is what helps you understand what people want. If you're putting out content in a specific way, learning to listen to people will actually help you understand the type of content people are willing to consume. Because you may be putting out content that entertains you, but remember that this is not about you. It's more about the audience that you're serving. So taking criticism is what helps you grow. And another pointer that you have to address is that in terms of taking criticism, is that everybody is a born judge, but not everybody is a born artist. Why do I say this? You have to be really careful with the people that you take criticism from, where there are people who will actually criticize you, not because they actually think that you did something in a bad way, but because they are actually scared that you're going to surpass them. So it's not everybody who will actually try to push you up. You have to take criticism from specific people. So these are people who are trying to uplift you. That is your peers. There's also people who are where you want to be, people who can be your mentors, right? And there's also people who can guide you in terms of achieving your strengths. These are people who we refer to as coaches. So make sure that you're really careful with the type of advice that you're taking and the type of people that you're taking advice from. The next one, love the analytics. Why am I talking about this? In terms of growth, in terms of finances, in terms of data, you've all seen how things like data science is something that's really growing within the industry. And why is it really growing? Because having data to track your progress is what helps you get to grow. So tracking your growth in terms of your impressions, let's say you used to get 10,000 impressions last year. That is when you get to question, okay, this year, what impressions am I getting? If I'm getting 6,000, it means that was a drop from last year. If I'm getting 20,000, it means it's an improvement. So it's actually a great step for helping you grow, not only in social media, but also in terms of your finances and also in terms of marketing your business. That is, you must always have a comparative analysis between where you are and where you are, because the goal is not to be better than the rest. The goal is to be better than the person you were before. So you must always love the analytics. And how do you get to manage your analytics on platforms like LinkedIn? There's the aspect of the impressions. You can turn on creator mode and get to notice how many impressions did I get last week? How many profile visits am I getting? How many followers have I gotten within the past 1 month? That's what drives you to grow. Always ensure that you're making a comparative analysis between where you are and where you are. The next one, protect your reputation at all costs. So, in terms of protecting your reputation, why do I talk about this? Your audience consists of diverse people. These are people from different setups, people with different views. And you must always mind the content that you're putting out. Let's say you're putting content regarding your business, right? And you're putting out the content on platform like Instagram, for instance. Then it reaches a period where, let's say there's an election and you've managed to support probably some other candidate that you feel people love on this other side, but there are also people who love this other individual. It means that using your own platform to show support for another individual will be detrimental for your business. It can benefit you in terms of the benefits politically, but will be detrimental in terms of your clients. So always try to understand your audience and get to understand the type of content that you're putting out. Just ensure that the type of content that you're putting out resonates with your audience and doesn't really cut it into half. And another thing is that social media always remembers. If you're using your platform, probably there's some comments that you made online. Just ensure that you keep track of the interaction that you're having. Protect your reputation at all costs, whether it's by having two accounts, whether it's by having private mode on other platforms that you don't want other people to access. Just ensure that the type of brand that you're looking to build is consistent in terms of its trajectory. And finally, stop blaming others. The person who is keeping you from getting started, it's not your lecturers, it's not school, it's not your classmates. The only person that's hindering your personal success is actually you, because making the first step entails looking in the mirror and telling yourself you can. And you've definitely seen people, probably in the engineering fraternity, trying to put their brand online, and people are in second year, people are in third year, and you're thinking that these people are special people. There's nothing special about these people. There's nothing special about people who are building their brand online. They're just normal people who decided to take action. So, one step that you must always take is by taking that uncomfortable step of putting yourself outside there. That's what helps you grow in terms of getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. Yeah, so that was it with regard to the personal branding. And now we can delve right into the Q&A session. I think most of you have a couple of questions and I'm quite willing to answer. So, Ahmad, you can guide the
Yeah,
Q&A
yeah,
session.
yeah, sure. I did see Martha raise her hand, and but before that, I did want to comment about the networking part. I do. If most of you were with us last year, you remember we had Engineer Airo with us at Kenyatta University, confusing us with his complicated systems, and at the same time inspiring us. Well, Engineer Airo coming there to KU, well, obviously, uh, God ordained for him to come there, but we can say that we are the causes. I actually met him at an IEK event where we just talked briefly, and he gave me his card, and he said we can actually invite him to the university, and that was the start. And it led to us having a very good session with him. So this is just a small example of what Carl is talking about on the benefits of networking and putting yourself out there. Yeah. And on the last point that Carl talked about, yeah, I do think that I've seen that a lot. When people tend to blame others, you usually shift the responsibility from yourself to that other person for your own for your own changes. So my personal thought is that that responsibility should be yours, just as Carl said. And when you develop that mindset, I think that's when change starts. Thank you.
Okay, so is there anyone with a question?
I think I saw Martha raise her hand. Martha, did you have a question?
Okay, Mike Kalia.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Carl, for that session. It was very impactful. And for someone who hangs out with you actually all the time, I thought I knew everything, but apparently there's still more to learn. So my question was actually on switching your brand or tailoring your brand to something different. What's your advice on that? Let's say you've been an entrepreneur your whole life. Now you want to switch to being an artist or a musician. How do you go about that? Is it advisable? Is it something good? Is it something you can do? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike, for sharing. Yeah, in terms of transitions can actually be there, even career transitions. So the first step is usually about self-awareness and the type of brand that you're looking to build. First, you have to ask yourself, if you're looking to transition, are you willing to let go of another brand and move on to pushing another brand? Or are you looking to push them all together? Because having built a brand is actually a stepping stone to building another one, where you may be having 10,000 followers, right? While talking about content regarding entrepreneurship, and you're no longer interested in talking about entrepreneurship. So it means that whenever you start talking about something like engineering, 10,000 people will not unfollow you. They just won't be that interested in your content. But you'll have to build your brand from there. But if you're looking to build your brand separately, let's say you're talking about entrepreneurship and also looking to talk about engineering on a platform like LinkedIn, there's usually the option of having different pages or even different newsletters. You can have a company page, one that talks about entrepreneurship, and another company page that talks about engineering. And aspect of if you're somebody who has been talking about entrepreneurship, there's one aspect that you'll have learned is that you don't have to do things. It's just a matter of getting things done. By having a company page, you can even have different professionals who are within that company put out the content on the company page, and also different professionals within the engineering field putting out engineering content where you will still retain your brand as Kalia, and you can be sticking to your content and basically packaging your content in terms of what you find interesting. Have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. Yeah, is there anyone else with a question? Okay, I think Ahmad, I don't think there are any other questions. You can take it from there. Yeah, I'll also be sharing the presentation with you guys. And I don't know if people are actually here. Yeah, though I remember there are actually people who've been invited for LinkedIn and CV training by John, the career coach. Actually, on the weekend, I'll be conducting that training. So, if there's anybody who needs some additional insights on what the training will be about, you can definitely hit me up because there'll also be an evaluation of that after that training. So, that's just an insider tip I'm telling whoever might be interested in that training on the weekend. So, if there's no one with any other question, I think I'll leave it to the host to take it
But
from there.
did Martha ask her question? I think I saw her raise her hand.
Okay.
Well, Martha, did you have a question? Okay, then I guess there's no question.
Yeah.
And just by the way, guys, I mean, I think most of you know Carl, and in case you don't know, he usually he offers services on LinkedIn. Ukitaka LinkedIn yako ikuwe revamped, he's the man to talk to. I
All
think
right.
Carl, you
Thank you.
can drop your number in case anyone would like your services.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Ahmad. Yeah, I'm actually offering a graduate package at the moment. Yeah, just a package that entails a CV, a LinkedIn profile, and a cover letter to help all graduates kickstart their job search because it's actually quite important for anybody to learn how to build their personal brand from a very early age in their career. Yeah, given the fact that, okay, this is just an addition. Having worked with different clients, you get to realize that there are individuals who wait until they're like up to 40 or 50 so that they can start putting themselves outside there, showcasing their different expertise and talking about the things that they're getting to learn. Like, why wait? Yet you can do this at such an early age. And given today's digital age, where opportunities are actually being created by individuals for themselves, building your personal brand is actually the first crucial step in terms of landing different opportunities. Yeah, so that was it. And thank you so much, Ahmad, for hosting me or having me in this session. And I'm really grateful for the audience and the people who have attended the session. I hope you found it helpful. So I'll just turn off my camera and pass the baton to the host to finalize on the meeting.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks a lot. We learned a lot, and the session was really enjoyable. And yeah, I'm looking forward to such enjoyable and beneficial sessions with you and any other professionals out there. So, thank you everyone who joined. And with that said, I think we cannot leave with our own pleasure. I think Carl, you can stop the recording. I've seen Emmanuel raising his hand. Kama Emmanuel ulikuwa una swali unataka kuuliza Carl?
Carl, niko na swali.